Imagine something so small that it's invisible to the naked eye, yet capable of bringing down entire ecosystems, changing the course of history, and even challenging our very survival. These are viruses, tiny, insidious invaders that exist at the edge of life itself. In just 10 minutes, we'll dive deep into the world of viruses, how they function, how they hijack our cells, and how they have shaped life as we know it. After watching this, you'll never see them the same way again. Viruses are unlike anything else in nature. They're not technically considered alive. Unlike bacteria or fungi, viruses cannot live independently. They don't have the machinery needed to grow or reproduce on their own. Instead, they need a host cell to survive. It's as if they are parasitic entities that don't do anything by themselves. They're purely genetic material, either DNA or RNA, wrapped in a protein coat, and they rely entirely on their hosts to carry out their life cycle. Without a host cell, they're inert, unable to do anything. So how do viruses work, and what makes them so dangerous? To answer that, we need to look at how they invade our cells. It starts with attachment. Every virus has proteins on its surface, often referred to as spikes, that allow it to recognize and bind to specific receptors on the surface of a host cell. This is a lock and key mechanism, where the virus has the key and the cell has the lock. Once it attaches, the virus either fuses with the cell's membrane or gets engulfed in a vesicle, bringing its genetic material into the cell. Now, once inside the host cell, the virus begins to hijack the cell's machinery. This is where things get interesting. If the virus is made of DNA, like the herpes virus, it heads to the nucleus of the cell, where it can use the cell's DNA replication machinery to make copies of itself. If the virus is made of RNA, like the flu or coronavirus, it stays in the cytoplasm, where it uses the cell's ribosomes to translate its RNA into viral proteins and replicate its genome. Some viruses, like HIV, even have an extra twist. They convert their RNA into DNA and integrate into the host genome, which can then lay dormant for years. The ultimate goal of the virus is simple: to make more copies of itself. As the virus takes over the host cell, it forces the cell to assemble new viral particles. These particles then exit the host cell, often destroying it in the process, and go on to infect new cells, continuing the cycle. And this process happens incredibly quickly. Some viruses can produce thousands of new viral particles in just a few hours. But viruses don't just replicate, they also evolve. One of the key reasons viruses are so tricky to deal with is their ability to mutate. Viruses change rapidly, especially RNA viruses, due to the fact that their replication mechanisms are prone to errors. These errors result in mutations that can allow the virus to escape detection by the immune system, change the way it infects host cells, or make it resistant to treatments. This is why we see new strains of viruses emerge over time. Take the flu virus, for example. It evolves quickly, which is why we need a new flu vaccine each year. The immune system is our body's first line of defense against these microscopic invaders. When a virus enters the body, the immune system kicks into action. It sends specialized cells to detect and neutralize the virus. The immune response starts with the innate immune system, a rapid but nonspecific defense. Cells like macrophages and dendritic cells act as the body's first responders, detecting the virus and attempting to destroy it. If the virus persists, the adaptive immune system kicks in. This is where T cells and B cells come into play. T cells can directly kill infected cells, while B cells produce antibodies that target the virus, preventing it from infecting more cells. Despite these defenses, viruses are clever. Many viruses can evade the immune system by hiding inside cells, mutating rapidly, or inhibiting the immune system's detection mechanisms. HIV, for example, attacks the very cells that are supposed to protect the body, weakening the immune system over time. Other viruses, like herpes simplex, can go into hiding, laying dormant in nerve cells and reactivating later, sometimes years after the initial infection. The danger with viruses goes beyond the infections they cause. Over time, viruses have shaped our world in ways we can't even begin to fully understand. Many of our genetic traits have been influenced by viral infections. Viruses are responsible for some of the most devastating diseases in history: smallpox, polio, influenza, and HIV, but they've also played a role in our survival. In fact, up to 8% of the human genome is made up of endogenous retroviruses, remnants of ancient viral infections that have been incorporated into our DNA over millions of years of evolution. These viral remnants sometimes help regulate our genes, play a role in placental development, and have even been co-opted by our immune system. Viruses have also made their mark in the world of biotechnology. Scientists have harnessed the power of viruses for good. For example, we use bacteriophages, viruses that infect bacteria, to treat bacterial infections, particularly those resistant to antibiotics. Viruses have also been used as delivery systems for gene therapy, where a virus is engineered to carry a healthy gene into a patient's cells to treat genetic disorders. Even vaccines work by using harmless parts of a virus, like proteins or inactivated forms of the virus, to trigger an immune response without causing disease. But viruses are still an enormous challenge. As they mutate and evolve, they continue to pose new threats. For instance, viruses like coronaviruses can spread rapidly across the globe, as we saw with the COVID-19 pandemic. Even with vaccines and treatments, new variants of viruses emerge, making it a never-ending race between scientists trying to develop new vaccines and therapies, and viruses evolving to evade those efforts. The next time you hear about a virus, whether it's a flu outbreak, a new vaccine, or a global pandemic, you'll have a deeper understanding of what's at stake. Viruses are not just tiny germs, they are living, or not so living, entities that have shaped our world and continue to influence our health and our future. They're brilliant in their simplicity and adaptability, and they challenge us to innovate, adapt, and evolve in response. So, while we've come a long way in understanding viruses and fighting them, this microscopic battle is far from over. The virus may be tiny, but its impact on our world is immense, and we've only scratched the surface of how viruses shape life.